Today I'm gonna guess the last 5 moves of the game between Nakamura and Navara from the Wijk tournament, Tata Steel tournament in Wijk from 2012. So we're gonna, as always, run quickly through the game. It was a English opening, which turned into some kind of reversed Sicilian here, where black actually adopts like a Maroxy kind of setup, reversed with reversed colors. Normally it's white in the Sicilian who plays c4 and d4 sometimes. And here we also see quite nicely the difference between how white treats such an opening and how black would treat it, because white plays here the quite aggressive move f4, which is quite unthinkable of for black in the in the same position with reversed colors or in similar positions. I mean, f5 is an idea in Maroxy kind of positions, but never that early. I mean, but of course white is trying for an opening advantage here, as he should be. And it's fairly complicated position here, where now Nakamura got black to weaken his king side, and now with quite a nice maneuver he gets the f6 square for his knight. All pretty much, all well, I believe pretty much forced, but we're not going to check for alternatives here for black. And now it's clear that white has the advantage with this very nice knight on f6, and all his major pieces are on active squares, and black's knight on a6 looks really silly. And here, of course, actually it would be nice to start a guess move here, because here Nakamura uncorks quite a nice sacrifice here with knight takes h5 check, which is just sacrificing a piece for already 2 pawns here. Check, 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 queen here. And now it's my turn to finish the game off. Well, first of all, material is almost almost equal. After, for example, queen takes g6, king takes g6, rook takes b7, we would have 3 pawns already for the piece. Although black could take on d2 there if rook takes d2, but then we could take on a7, and then we would still have 3 pawns for the piece. But the position there is fairly unclear. And with black's open king, we would certainly not mind not trading the queens. Actually, I would avoid a queen trade here if at all possible. For example, a move that comes to mind, of course, is taking the rook with the queen. Queen takes d8. Then, of course, black has to take our rook. Queen takes f7. And then we already might have some checks like queen h8 check, but then queen h7 or king g6. And well, I don't see an immediate win there. So another way of keeping the queens on the board actually that looks fairly attractive for me is just retreating the queen along the f file, probably say to f2 or f3, which will threaten directly the move rook f6, winning the queen. So black would have to respond to this threat somehow. So let's say queen f3, and then I believe black should try rook d6 there. After which we could, for example, just take on b7. Or can we do something stronger there? We could also take with the queen on b7 there. I thought taking with the rook, but taking with the queen is also interesting. We also should not forget that black has some checks on b1 in those variations with the queen. So maybe actually a very strong move might be queen f1, a nice retreat. Still threatening rook f6, but also threatening queen h3 check, which would force queen h5 and then a rook h7 check. So actually after queen f1, black cannot play rook d6 due to queen h3 check winning the queen, which would be completely winning. And so that means black probably has to move the queen after queen f1, queen away, because the king cannot move, and there is no way to protect f6 other than rook d6, which doesn't work. So queen f1 and then something like queen e4, centralizing the queen, or maybe queen no, queen e6 doesn't work. Queen e4. No, queen e4 also doesn't work because queen h3 check and mate on h7. So probably queen f1, queen h5 seems like the best try. And then something like rook f6 check, king h7 or king g7. Or maybe actually after queen h5 we can just take on b7, after which the knight on a6 is hanging, which also looks fairly strong. So okay, let me show you some of the tactics here. So here, if black passes, we win the queen. So after, and this easy protection doesn't work because due to this little tactic. And I mean, okay, here we are completely winning, the game's over. So, and a move such as this, because black probably has to move the queen, simply doesn't work because this is checkmate. So the actually after queen f1, which is a nice move in my eyes, the only move really is this. But then I think we can, well, maybe the check is strong, but I think taking b7 is really strong too, threatening simply the knight, and the knight doesn't have any good squares. I mean, it's not only that we take the knight, we will also force a queen trade afterwards, which would leave us with a completely winning rook endgame. So if for example black takes here, I mean, this is not playable for black, of course. And there might even be better things here. So okay, this still doesn't work. This still doesn't really work because of this check, which looks really terrible for black, because we take the rook in the next move. Yep, with check we take the rook. It doesn't work. So okay, and this is really passive. And it also doesn't work because this is still check, and now we take the rook, and our rook is no longer an f7, so there is no queen f7. So okay, I'm fairly sure that queen f1 is the move in this position. Let's see what he played. Queen f1, queen h5. I'm going with rook takes b7 here because that's what I saw. Rook takes b7, c4. That's a move I didn't consider, so we have to see what happens here. Well, this just doesn't work, right? We just take the black rook. Can't we just take the rook? Queen f6 check, queen g6 forced, taking the rook. Okay, black has a check on b1, but after king f2, black is out of checks, and the game is over, as we are threatening probably all kinds of checkmates. So yeah, I'm going with yeah, queen f6 check is just over. And taking the rook. Yep, queen b1, king f2 resigns. Yay! So I actually guessed all the moves perfectly in this one. That's nice. The game's over because you have no checks and you are obviously mated here. And done a lot of material. But okay, this was a fairly easy job for me here because the strong move was already played 2 moves before I started guessing moves here by Nakamura. I mean, of course, white is already winning here with other moves as well. I mean, we can see this by the computer evaluation, but also by the nice coordination of all white's pieces, the wonderful knight on f6 and the silly knight on a6. It is clear that white has a very large advantage here. Actually, he is winning, but that's not directly obvious, but the position is certainly in white's favor. And yeah, he went for the. Of course, Nakamura saw all the variations up to the win here. At this position, he saw the win already. So because it's all pretty forcing. I'm sure he saw this queen f1 idea already when he took here, because it's all forced. And here this queen f1, I'm sure he saw it, because if you don't see it, you're not gonna sacrifice the knight. I mean, okay, apparently queen e7 is just as strong as queen f1, but queen f1 has nice geometry in my eyes, with those nice queen h3 threat, the rook f6 threat, and keeping an eye on the knight, which is under attack after we take on b7. So I like it much more than queen e7, although both win. Yeah, there is just no defense here. Again, the best move by the computer, which we also looked at, runs into this move, followed by this nice little tactic. I'm sure Nakamura saw all of that when he went for the knight sack here. I mean, it's not that hard to calculate actually, with enough time. But still, queen f1. It's nice, and yeah, here that's you see h4 and stuff, but that's a very human win, I guess, because it really exploits the nice position of the queen on f1. And yeah, okay, that was a fairly easy one, but thanks for watching.